Mm. Hey there. Hi guys. How are you? I am just getting everything together. I have to make sure I'm in the right place. Let me make sure that I am on my Facebook page and not my Facebook business page and not my I would hate for me to be okay. It looks like I'm in the right space. Let me get this going. And all right. Yep, I think I'm in the right place. Oh gosh, my room is such a mess. This is why I don't usually go live. I mean, I go live, but I don't usually show myself or behind me. It's not bad up above, but down below. Okay, so if you're watching, uh-oh, I forgot to turn my phone. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot to turn my phone on, what do you call it? Mute the notifications, whatever. I forget what you call it. But anyway, so today I am here to show you I have 4 cards for my virtual card class, and I'm using, these might be backwards to you because of the way I'm using my camera right now. Yeah, I think they are. But when I turn you down, you'll see the right way. So I'm using Apple Harvest and Soft Seedlings, and these are my 4 cards. Again, you're going to see them backwards, but I'll show you them again down below. So we have this one is with Soft Seedlings, and this one is Soft Seedlings. This is a vellum card, which is really nice. And then these are Apple Harvest. And we are making the Apple Harvest tonight. And then on Friday during my Facebook Live at noon, I will make the other 2 cards for this series. Now, if you want, you can get the card kit to make these. This is my virtual card kit. Excuse me, my virtual card class kit that I go live here on Facebook, and I will upload it to YouTube. So you could be watching it on YouTube right now. And if you're there, hit subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. I'd appreciate it. So if you're out on Donna, that's Donna's Creative Space on YouTube, which is also Donna's Creative Space on Facebook. Okay, so these 4 cards, we're going to do the 2 apple ones tonight and the 2 leafy ones on Friday at noon. All right, so set those aside. And you can get this kit for free if you shop with me between, well, it's already started. It started September 16th. It's the second half of the month special. So if you shop with me and spend $35 or more on product and use my host code, which when I turn you down, I'll show it to you. I'll have it up on the screen. And, excuse me, $35 or more on product, and you'll get this kit for free. So, and they will ship after the 30th. So you can shop through September 30th. Okay, you'll get, and it's 1 of each cards. There's 4 cards. So I am going to turn you down. I hate this part. I'm trying to see where, the little flippy thing is, because I don't see it anymore. It was, oh, there it is. I see it. Okay, so I'm going to flip you around. So hang on, let's see if this works. Okay, now I got to get you in my... Did that work? I think I got it. All right, just have to pull up some wires and get a few extra lights on. All right, I think we're good to go. It looks like I'm a little too far away. I'm going to kind of go down a bit. Let's see if that's any better. I think that's better. All right, so I'm waiting for my screen to catch up. And let me make sure this is centered. It's so hard to do it like, gosh, like right in the... That's why I hardly ever show my face, because this whole part is switching over. Okay, so these are the 2 we're going to do tonight. Excuse me, and this is... Ooh, I'm crooked. Hang on. When I fix something, I have to wait for my computer to catch up because it's, there's like a delay. Okay, so the host code is HZQHA7C2 2. Now, a lot of people have trouble finding where to put the host code. And when you go online to my website, donnasingleton.stampinup.net, to shop, before you even start shopping, click on the little shopping cart icon, and then when you click on that, you'll see my name, and underneath my name it should say host code, add host code, and click there and add the host code, because that's how you get the class for free, this kit for free, is by putting the host code in and the order amount. Okay, so we are going to start with this one first, I think. And, well, let me show you. You're going to get a kit. Oh, I have 2 here. This is what your kit's going to look like. All right, you're going to have kits for 4 cards, 1 of each of the 4 designs, and you'll have everything you need in there. You'll have scrap paper if you need it to fussy cut something. You'll have any of the die cuts that I'm able to cut. I believe I can cut everything for you. There was nothing that you had to stamp first, because we are not supposed to stamp anything for you per Stampin' Up! Rules. So if it was something that you had to stamp first, then you would have to, I could only give you the paper, you'd have to stamp it. All right, so that's your card kit. So I have 2 sitting here. I'm going to set one aside. And I am also using, for my embellishments, I'm using the Champagne Rhinestone Jewels. All right, so we're going to do this one. So I'm going to take out this. And I've done a little bit, there's a lot of coloring in this, so I've done a little bit ahead of time, but I'm going to show you the process, and then I'll pull out the one that I did most of the coloring on it. They're not hard at all. If you, well, if you don't like to color, I don't know what to tell you, but I think that coloring with the Stampin' Blends, to me, is just so soothing. I just love to color. So we're going to you get an old olive card base, and we're going to fold that in half, and let me get out a bone folder to crease it. Excuse me. Now, the inks that we need for this card are Old Olive and Memento. So I'm going to get the Old Olive out, and I just did a couple little things with the Old Olive. Let me pull over my little bin here. It has everything in it instead of me keep reaching. So I'm going to use this just to add a little bit of, kind of like a little texture to this card. And I put one like this, and I did the other one just like this, because you're only going to see it peek out from behind this scallop. And I just thought it's just a little touch. Now, I didn't put anything on the inside of this one yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And what I was thinking of doing is maybe just doing the same type of thing, maybe putting the same type of cross hatching. I think I'll do it. I'm going to make a second one so that I can put it on my original sample, because I hadn't done that. So it's just something to make it so the inside is not just plain. I have my scrubber off to the side, so if you hear me spritzing it and scrubbing, I'm just trying to clean a little bit as I go. So I'm going to put this one in the inside of my original sample, because I didn't do the inside of this one, so I'm just going to throw that on. See how it just dresses up the inside a little. So I might as well go ahead and put it on the inside of this one. Okay, and now these kits, so when I send you the kit, there are no written instructions. You just come back to this video and, excuse me, I'm sorry, I've had a cold and I'm over the cold, but the little bit of scratchy throat, it doesn't even hurt. It's just, I have to keep clearing it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so when you get this, you'll have there'll be a slip of paper in your kit that has the supplies that you'll need, like the inks and whatnot, the stamp sets. And then it will also have the path to this video once I post this on YouTube. So this is part 1. And when I post it on YouTube, I will grab that path and I'll put it in the kit. So there'll be 2 paths, one for each of the videos. So this is a piece of Designer Series paper from the Celebrate Everything big pack of paper. It's a host set, and it's really a big pack. So what I'm doing is I'm using my silicone mat because I'm putting this ribbon just down the side of this. And I let half of, not half, but a little portion of my adhesive runner go over the edge. And it doesn't stick to the it doesn't stick to the silicone mat. So it just keeps it on the paper. And you can either roll it back on the front or the back. So all I'm doing is putting this black and white check ribbon up to the edge. And just like that. This is just to add a little bit to this. Now, if you have all this stuff at home, you can, and you have all these supplies or something similar, you can just watch the video and make your own. But like I said, if you want the card kit, you just have to place an order. You don't have to buy these stamps. You can buy whatever you want if you already have these stamps. And you just have to place the order and I'll send them to you. And like I said, use the host code and they will ship. The offer runs through the 30th, so I don't finalize the kits until after the 30th. So they'll ship the week after. So they'll be shipping the first week of October. So now I'm going to take this. This is a 2-inch. I should be telling you the sizes. This was a 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is Old Olive. In case you're making this at home with using your own supplies, which is perfectly fine. I'm just offering it to those that want the kit and want everything cut for them. So this is a piece of designer series paper from the Celebrate Everything. And it's kind of cute because it's got this these triangle design, but it's got pink in the background and red. So I like the red popping out. But I thought it needed something, so I put this as the black and white. Let me get the correct name to make sure it's the black and white. Black and white gingham. Yep, black and white gingham ribbon. So I used that, and I cut about a 6.5-inch piece and just wrapped it around the designer paper and then put it on the card, so that way you don't see it on the inside of your card. All right, and I used Old Olive ink, and I should close this because I do not want to drop anything into that ink pad. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, and I should have done it first, because what I like to do is when I'm using Memento ink and Stampin' blends, I like to stamp and let it sit for a couple minutes. Excuse me. You don't need to, but I find that when I'm coloring it in with the blends, because you have to use your Memento, because it's the alcohol-based markers won't let the water-based Memento bleed. All right, it won't let it run. But it does... It can kind of blur a little, so I like to let it set. So I've inked this up, and I'm going to go a little bit more just to make sure. This is a big block. This is block E. I don't use it a lot, but when I need it, I'm glad I have it because it's a nice big block. In fact, I need it for the Friday's card. The big leaf has to go on a big block. So I'm putting it down. I'm not squishing it. I'm just holding it there with pressure. I want to leave it there for a second and let the Memento ink sink into the paper. Didn't that come out nice? And there's a little bit of shading already on, can you see it on the apples and a little bit on the leaves? So there's already shading to this. That will just help us color. And while we have the ink out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. And the sentiment is, hope you are feeling better. And this is a long, skinny stamp, and I've got a piece. This is, let me see what my measurements are. I should be telling you as I go. Well, this, I should tell you this. This scallop, where did I put the, I just moved over here. This scallop is the second largest in the contour, the scallop contour dies. If you don't have these are a great set to have just because, just for those rectangles alone. It does have this nice curvy, wavy thing to cut, and a couple things that go with, this goes with the contour and, oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the stamp set. Something in flowers and contour? I don't know, but it cuts out a couple of flowers. But the rectangles alone are worth it for this card. So this piece here is a 1/2 inch by 2.5 inch. That I got with Whisper White. And the scalloped rectangle will be in your packet. So you don't need to worry about that. Everything's going to be in your packet. So I'm going to, let's see, my head might get in the way for this, but I'm going to stamp, hope you are feeling better, across this. And there we go. That is good. All right, so all our stamping is done for this card. And we've let this sit a little while. Excuse me. And if you're doing this at home, if I were you, I would stamp, then cut your rectangle, then color. Because if let's say you stamp it on just a scrap piece of white and you color it in, and then you go to cut your scallop and something happens and maybe you cut half of your leaf off and now you're all upset and you went and colored it all in. So cut it first and then go back and color. Now, this die set is one of the dies, one of the stamps that is in the perfect. There's a promotion going on. Let me find the piece of paper. Oh, goodness. Oh, I don't know where I put it. It's called Perfect Partners, and it's going on right now. And I do have it. Let me see. Oh, here it is. I knew I had it. So Perfect Partners, this is going on right now. If you already have the Apple Harvest stamp set and you want the dies to go with it, you can purchase them. The dies, what they're telling us is that this is available for a limited time. These are 6 sets of dies, and they go along with 6 stamps that are already in the catalog. So we may see them in the future, but maybe we won't. So it says a limited time and while supplies last. If you don't have either of these and you want them, you can get it 10% cheaper when you buy the bundle. Sorry about that. Excuse me. So these are the dies, and I just wanted to show you, if you wanted to. I did not do it on this card. I did it flat right on the scallop because I'm trying to make it so that you guys can do this at home on your own with or without the dies. And this is the die. Let me get it off this backing, right? So if you have the dies, you could cut this out. Again, stamp, cut, then color. Because if you, let's say you colored all this and then when you cut it out, you had all this white and you cut off some of it, you'd be very upset that you spent all that time coloring. So this could cut out. So you could, if you want to step up this card, you could color this on a piece of color and cut it out on a piece of scrap paper. Stamp and cut it out on a piece of scrap paper. Then color, and then you can put it up on dimensional. So that will give it a, and you know, on dimensionals on your scallop rectangle. That would look really pretty. But I'm not doing that, and I didn't supply that because sometimes I like to do these kits so that if you, excuse me, if you don't have, you know, if you just, you know, if you're only able to buy just maybe the stamp set this time around. Gosh, I'm not going to be able to fit this back on, am I? Ooh, maybe I did. There. So there's a few different dies. You have all these leaves that are separate. In fact, we're using a couple leaves on the next card. But there's flowers, there's an apple, there's some twigs. So you can cut out the 3 different big images. You can cut out this little flower. And there's even this long sentiment label that would fit that one right there, and this kind of like a scalloped border if you wanted. So it's a cute die set. So a lot of people like to, if they have the stamp set, they like to go ahead and buy the dies. You don't have to have it for my card class because I'm supplying whatever die cuts you need. But I just want to show it to you just in case. Okay, so back to this. Excuse me. All right, I have Old Olive, I have Real Red, some Crumb Cake, and I have a light Flirty Flamingo. Those are the Stampin' Blends I use to color this. And I'm going to show you how to color, but I didn't want to waste a lot of time with you watching me color, so I'm going to color a little bit. I'm going to start this one off, and then I'm going to switch to one that is, like I have one already that's almost done, but I'm going to do a couple leaves on this one so that you can see. Well, actually, I do have a leaf I didn't touch, so maybe I'll switch right to this. So if you're stamping, let this set, and then and do the rest of it. Assemble your card, and then go back to it. It just helps. I think it helps the Memento ink set a little bit better for coloring. All right, so I have one leaf left to show you. So what I do is I like to start with the light of the blend, and I color in the image, and I'm going to color this whole leaf in, and I'm doing it roughly. It's not perfect. I didn't go all the way to the edge. Let me see if I can zoom in. And it's very hard for me to see. A little bit more maybe. I gotta wait a second. Okay, good. And you can see that I've already done all these other leaves, but after you've colored, you might sit there and when it dries, you might say, oh, I don't like that line is there. So just go back in with your light with circular motions and go over anything that you don't, if you see a line that you don't like or you want it blended a little bit more, that's all you have to do. All right, so I've gone through and just roughly colored this leaf with the light. Then I'm going to take the dark and I'm going to kind of go along the veins, but I like to kind of put a little bit darker at the beginning and then come down like this and put a little bit thicker. Now, when I went darker when something was behind, like I missed this guy, so I'm going to put a little bit of dark green there. And then this, I should say dark old olive. And then go in and touch it up with the light. And then I'll just go in with the circular motion. And I think you can see this. I think I've zoomed in enough. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm just kind of swirling the ink around. And it kind of gives it, and you can pull it a little bit. You don't want it to put too much pressure because you don't want to damage your paper. Right, just like that. And what it is these markers are alcohol markers. So the alcohol spreads things around, spreads the color around, so the ink actually blends. The two colors will blend. So I did all the leaves, most of the leaves. So you got to see one of them. It'll get a little bit lighter. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take a sip of water. Take a little bit break. I feel fine. It's just my throat when I talk too much. All right, so now I'm going to do similarly with the apples. I'm going to take my light. I'm using the wider end, and this is, make sure I'm using the light. Yeah, this is the light real red, and I'm going to kind of color it in. I'm not going to go too close to the edge because I'm going to put the dark in there, so I don't have to go right up to the black edge. I think I'll do both of these at once because they're right next to each other. Another tip is I like to let things, I don't like to work on something that I just colored just in case it's still a little damp because it might run. So if I had just done this green leaf, I wouldn't want to do the apple right next to it. I would switch to another apple or switch to another leaf, if you know what I mean. So that this border isn't next to, like right in here, I'm not up against something else that I just colored. Because then you could get that blending, and you don't want the red and green to blend. So I kind of went over where the dark was, and I'm going to put a little bit of dark on this one. I'm going to use the point side on this one. And I'm going to kind of go around the edge of this leaf because it's the apple's underneath it. So it will be a little bit darker. And it's best to start out light because you can always go back and add, but you can't take it off. Okay. All right, and I have one more leaf to do. One more apple, and then I'll do the stem. And I'm glad I did the leaves, most of the leaves, ahead of time so you wouldn't have to. Oops, am I doing the wrong color? Oh, I went and did the red. I didn't switch. So I went and used the dark red for this apple. So now I got to go in and do some light. I think it's going to be okay. I'm talking and I'm not paying attention. It's going to be fine. So we have a little bit of light on the bottom rather than the... Okay. So now so that's the apples and the leaves. And now I'll go ahead and do, oh, I don't need the light Flirty Flamingo for this one. It's for the next card, the Cherry Blossoms. Or the Apple Blossoms, I should say, not Cherry Blossoms. Now for this one, just about the same idea. I'm going to put on the light, and then I'm going to go back in with the dark for an accent. All right, like almost like a shadow. And I'm working in a little area at a time. And I'm kind of doing... I'm doing like the bottom half of the branch, and I'm putting in lines wherever those lines are. You see that, how I'm doing that? I think I've zoomed in enough. And then I'll go over with the swirly. See, all I'm doing is like this, but small. All right. Because I'm just trying to blend it so that I don't have a real solid line. So now with the light still, I'm going to go down here on this one. I just love to color. If you're watching, you can say hello. I don't bite. Just working along here. And let's see, I think I'll do the same thing as I'm going to just do half of the branch, one side, maybe a little bit dark near the bottom. So I went out of the image area. Try to stay in the image area. It's hard now that I zoomed in. I got to remember to unzoom, or zoom out, I should say. All right, so we're all done. Hello, Penny from Florida. How are you? Thanks for joining me tonight. And thanks for saying hello. I'm kind of lonely. All right. So we're done coloring. And all we have to do is put this on here now. So now at this point, if you wanted to dress it up a little, you could add some Wink of Stella. I didn't. But you can. It's an option. I just decided not to add any shimmer on these. I don't know why. Maybe because the last card class I did Wink of Stella on most of them. Maybe I'm Wink of Stella'd out. Who knows? Okay. Let me get my pick tool and get rid of these little backings. Oops, that one didn't come off. I can usually get 5 or 6 before. How's the weather in Florida? Are you getting... Oh, I should zoom out. Penny, are you getting any of the bad weather from, what is it, Fiona? Is it? Something like that. I can't tell if I zoomed out. I think I'm back. It looks pretty bad, and looked pretty bad. I saw Puerto Rico on the news yesterday. Okay. So see how this little cross hatching just peeks out just a little bit to add to the decoration, just to jazz it up a bit. All right, so our sentiment is going to go up on dimensionals also, and this is a 1/2 inch strip. I believe I told you already. It's 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches, and I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on it. See if I can peel those off without my take your pick tool. And then I'm just going to put this down the bottom here, and I'm letting it kind of go off the edge a little. Just that adds a little more interest. If I put it straight on, you could do that, right? I won't press it down. That's pretty. But when you let something go off center and also hang off the edge of something and kind of jet out into another color, it just adds a little bit of interest to it. No, it's not going to affect you. It's hot and steamy. Oh yeah, Florida, hot and steamy. Wow, that's good. I'm glad it didn't affect you. Okay, so that's that. Now we have our little bow. So in your kit, if you get the kit, you will have your bow already made out of black twine. I put, oh, here they are underneath. So I have some rhinestones, and I need a glue dot. So I'm going to take a glue dot, and I'm actually going to take this glue dot, and I'm going to take my non-ribbon scissors and cut it in half, because I only want, excuse me, I apologize. I only want a small little piece of glue, and the glue dots are kind of, even though they're mini, they're still kind of big. If you get the paper pumpkin, it comes with, let me show you, it comes with these, and I always save these to use on these kind of projects, but I forgot about it, so next time I'll do that. So I put the glue dot, and I'm just going to put it right up here on the stem of the, or branch I should say, and I'm going to give it a little trim with my ribbon scissors. Just like that, and then we're going to put some rhinestones. Oh, my putty is looking like it's almost near the end. So I'm going to put a few of these on. I'm going to put one on the apple. I like to do things in, I'll put a little medium-sized one over here. Oh, where'd that staple come from? Huh. That's funny. No, I'll put a medium one over here. And there we have it. So there's our first card. So that's card number 1. Of course, you'll get the envelopes to go with it. And we can switch right over to card number 2. And this is card number 2. This one was fun. I like this one. All right, so let me get out the kit for this one. And there's some more coloring in this one. Whoops. And in here, you have, make sure I got all the pieces. And definitely dump out your envelope to make sure. But you're going to have a little blossom cut out, and you're going to have 2 die cuts. All right, and then you'll have a punched oval and a punched black. Now, punched scallop oval. Now, if you're doing this at home and you have all these supplies, great. You can go ahead and, let's see, I will show you, where is the punch? Here's the punch. So this is the double oval punch that I used. So that has a straight, I love this punch. It has a straight punch, and then it has a scallop. And all I do is I usually use a skinny piece of cardstock and slide it in this way and cut what I need. Yours are going to come all cut. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I can't wait till this throat thing goes away. All right, so I'm going to fold my card base in half. And before we do anything with it, excuse me, I took the set that the stamp that we just used on the last card, and I used it to kind of give a little bit of something something to the background of this red. Now I'm going to get out a piece of scrap paper, and I guess I'll just use the back of this because I'm going to go over the edge. So I'm going to ink this up, and I like this because it had the smaller. I could have used this, but I didn't want the big apples in the background. See how it's just a little, just to kind of jazz up the background. All right, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to ink it up. This is, oh, my red is really juicy. I'm going to, what was I going to do? I'm going to aim it, I'm going to put the stem towards the middle and go like this towards the corner, towards each of the corners, because we're not going to see the middle, so we don't care if it kind of covers up. All right, just like so. I'm sorry, I'm going to have a cough drop. I've got some water here, but all right, so that's all stamped. I'm going to set that aside. And I want to pull out this stamp, and I'm going to stamp this so we can let it set. Now you're going to have a piece of, so the card base is real red. And if you're making this at home and you need the measurements, it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm sorry. I am not going to die, don't worry. It's just when I talk a lot, I get that tickle comes in my throat. So, you have a piece of basic white that is 2.5 by 3. All right. Excuse me. We have an inside mat that is 4 by 5.25, and we have where did it go? I thought I dumped everything out. There should be a little strip of, oh, I found it. A little 4-inch strip of the same. This is Cottage Gingham Designer Series paper. It's got small checks on one side and large on the other. We're using the small side. So for my inside of my card, I'm just using this, and I put it down like maybe 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. Just like this, I'll show you. Okay. It's just something simple. You can put apples on the inside. You can put, oh my goodness, I got glue all over me. You can put whatever you want on the inside. But I'm trying to do something quick tonight so I don't take up too much of your time. So I've done this 1/2 inch, so you'll get a 1/2 inch strip of that to put on the inside. Excuse me. And then, oh, I said I was going to stamp so we can let it set. So we're going to do the same thing. And there's not a lot of coloring on this one, so I figured I could do this whole one for you. So I'm going to ink this up. And sometimes, excuse me, the memento pads are felt pads, so they're a little stiffer, a lot stiffer than the, like the red is the red pad, our regular pads are a foam ink pad. And this is felt, so it's a little harder, so you can be a little bit, don't squish it in, because then you get it all around the edge. And the reason I don't have to have any cushion, excuse me, the reason I don't have to have any cushion underneath here is because these are red rubber and they already have cushion. So I don't necessarily need it. You can, if you'd like. So I'm going to stamp this, and I'm just putting it so the apple looks kind of straight on the page. Just like that. Hold it there for a second. Let the memento sink into the white paper. All right. And we're done with that one. All right. So while we have that out, we're going to stamp the sentiment in memento on this little piece. It doesn't look like it will fit, but it does. Hey. It's always nice when things work out while you're on camera. Alright, so that is all the inking. So while that sets for a minute, I'm going to put this together. Put some adhesive on the back of this. And on the back of this. I'm not on the back. I'm going to stamp that. We are going to put this up on dimensionals. So I'll put a couple dimensionals, but I'm not going to peel them off yet because we'll just set it aside. And we have our 2 leaves, and we have a little white flower that we want to color a little bit. But first, let's do this. So we're going to take this piece, and this is going to, see how it covers up everything in the middle? We're going to take this and put this on an angle so that it looks like a diamond. I'm making a mess with this adhesive tonight. Excuse me. And it should fit the points. Just make sure the points fit side to side. And then it's kind of centered top to bottom. But it should perfectly fit in here. Just like that. And then we're going to color. And we're going to color before we put that on there, because if we mess up, we don't have to rip it apart. We can just go ahead and let's see. I'm trying to figure out. All right, so we're going to get the same colors out, and this is where we're going to come in with that. We're going to use our color lifter, and where'd it go? This light Flirty Flamingo. In fact, I'm going to do that first. That way we can get some of that, the lifter to work. So this is light Flirty Flamingo, because we don't have a real light kind of, oh, I should probably zoom in again, right? Let me see if I zoomed in enough, and I'll put something dark behind. Sometimes that helps. Let's see if that is enough. I think that's good. Maybe that's too, is that too close? Maybe that's too close. All right, so all I'm doing is I'm just scribbling a little bit of pink on those, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the color lifter, because they're really not apple blossoms are kind of very light pink in spots. Then we're going to take, well, I'm going to use the other end. Then we're going to take the color lifter and kind of scribble some of that. This is kind of like bleaches out, lifts the color. It'll make the pink a little bit lighter. And the reason I'm doing it first is so that it works, so we can see it. And at the same time, I'm going to do this little blossom here. Right. I'm just going to put some pink on. It's not in any particular spots. I'm just going to, excuse me, put it on. And then I'm going to take the lifter and kind of go over it in those pink spots. See how it's getting lighter on these? Did you see how dark it had been? So I don't know if I got too close now, but it kind of lightens it out. I don't know if you can see that. I can't even tell if I'm too close. I think you can kind of see it. So it was nice and pink, so it bleaches it out. I'm gonna do the apples first, and I'm gonna make sure I'm using the light and not screw up like that last one. I'm using the felt tip side and very carefully doing the top of this one, because there's only a little bit of apple there. Oh, am I not even in the image area? Maybe I'm zoomed in too much. Let me come down a little bit there. That might be better. All right, and then I'm going to do along the edge of here and there. And I'm going to go in with the dark. And I'm going to bring some down right to that point. And then in here, I don't really even have to blend too much because it's just such a skinny strip. And then I'll take my light again and go over it, just so I don't have a real strong line. And then I'm going to take the light, light, and I'm going to go over here. And remember what I said about the leaf. I mean, about two things touching each other. Like after I do this one, I'll probably do the leaf way over here. If I was going to color right away, I'd want this apple to, I'm just turning it around when I need to. I'd want the apple to dry quite a bit before I go in and color. And the stamp has, I'll show you the stamp itself. You can probably see it on here, but it's easy to see on the way. See, it has the shading already on some of these. See on those? So that's what I'm kind of following a little bit. Is now I'm going to go in and put a little bit of the dark on. I like to use the other edge. I have a little bit more control. And I'm going to use this little circles. Put that in. Maybe go along the edge of this, because it is darker when there's something on top. So that apple's above this one, so I'll put a little bit of darkness there. And I'll just touch it right there. Just like that. And then I'm going to go back with my light. And do my little swirlies. Go real close to the edge, carefully. Do the swirling. Just like that. I think it looks pretty good. All right. Done. So now, since this is kind of damp and it's drying, I'm not going to do that leaf right there. I'll go work on this leaf over here. That's what I meant by trying to stay away from things that you just worked on. Because if this was red and I put the green up against that edge, they might blur. because the alcohol ink might just hit each other. And red and green, what does red and green make? I don't want it to blur, so I'm going to use a different leaf when I go to do these. So I'm going to put a little bit of color, a little bit of the dark, kind of near when it's under things. And don't forget to come back and watch. You want to watch the part 2 of this class. Will be those other 2 cards using the other stamp set. I'll do my little circular motions on this. So now I think that's fairly dry, and this is why I have this down, because the alcohol inks can go seep through your cardstock in parts. Make sure I'm using the light. Yep. And I think I gave that enough time to dry, but I'm not going to go right up to the edge. I'll leave a little bit until I do the dark. Go around this edge. And then back with the light. A little bit of curly. Curly, curly. And it works best when you work in small sections so it doesn't dry, because the ink blends better when it's wet. That's why I did this leaf, then I moved to this one instead of doing, if they're small and they're near each other, I don't mind doing a couple at a time, but try to bigger areas, try to hold off. Now I'm going to put a little bit more. You can see how pink this is compared to those. I'm going to take this again and I'm going to put a little bit more of the color lifter, and we'll just I put a little bit more on these because I kind of want them more white with just a little bit of pink on them. And now I'm going to use the crumb cake, the light and dark again, and I'm going to just color the whole stem, or branch I should say, it's not really a stem, in the light. And let's see, I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to do the top of this one because it looks like it's got some shading on it, and then I'm going to kind of do some, almost like, kind of like the underneath part, like the bottom half of it, if that makes sense to you. And then I'll go in over it again. See how you can see that line there? The two different, I'm going to color over it so it disappears. So it blends. We don't want that distinction. Isn't that pretty? I love the way this came out. I want to do a little bit more. And when you close these, if you have these, make sure when you close them, you hear that snap. That means that they're, before I put them away, I always go through and make sure I'm snapping. I've closed them all. And if I hear a snap, it means it wasn't closed. Oh. Okay. I want to put a little bit more. Uh-oh, did I just lose my little flower when I did that? Yeah, I did. Hold on. It fell in with the markers. So I want to put a little bit more of this on here. All right. Excuse me. Hope I didn't assemble, and then we're all done. All right, so this is going to get a rectangle. Now, again, this white piece was 2.5 by 3, so it's kind of a little bit more narrow this way. It wasn't quite square, and it's going on a black piece that is 2 5/8 by 3 1/8, and we just have a very skinny border. Not my usual 1/8 inch around. It's really a 1/16 inch around. Got a little bit of glue hanging off the edge, so I'm just going to use this adhesive remover. Now this is going to go up on dimensionals. Oh, I'm going to, gosh, I always forget to unzoom, and then you guys get stuck. You get stuck looking at my knuckles the whole time. Oop. Oh, a bug just went by. Trying to get to my apple, I guess. All right, so we have that. So I'm going to put this one down first. Where is my take your pick tool? Whoops. This one's going to go down first. I love just having this decoration in the background, that stamped image. And I'm just going to center this so that the triangles around the edge of it are almost equal, left and right, and then top and bottom are a little bit bigger. Just like that. I don't have my grid paper out, so I'm going to have to eyeball it. I think that's good. All right, and then this is going to go down here. And it's just going to barely, just a little bit of the scallop is going to go over the edge of, just over the edge of the square, the rectangle. And then I'm going to get some glue dots. And I'm going to put a glue dot. I'm going to put a glue dot on the back and on the front of this little leaf. See how I did it? And then I'm going to pick this up slightly and stick that under. Just like that. Alright. And then this one, I don't need one on the front, I just need one on the back. And this one's going to go over here. Just kind of like this. Right there. And then this little guy here, what I want to do with this one is, I don't want to use a dimensional because it'll be too thick, so I'm going to use 2 glue dots. So I'm just going to put a glue dot on top of a glue dot. And it's going to be a little bit big. Hi, Tracy! Yes, it is different me being here tonight. That's because I'm doing my virtual card class. I always do it on an odd night. I'm just here for 2 cards tonight, and I'll do the other 2 Friday. Nice to see you here, though. So now I'm just pushing the glue dot away from, just folding it up on itself so it's giving it even more dimension. But I don't want to see it from the front, so I pushed it away a little bit. Just like that with my little take your pick tool. So this will raise it up a but not like a total, not a lot. All right, so it's raised. It's just not as much as a dimensional. And that's that. So then we're gonna put, excuse me, I'm gonna put a medium size champagne rhinestone. Oh, it's so pretty. Right in the center of that one, and then the center in that one, and then now I like to do things in odd numbers. So, and I'm trying to fill in this white spice. So I have 4. So now I'm going to have to put 1 up here, because I got to put 5 on there. All right, and then we're going to do the glue dot. Now I think I'll use my glue dot from my paper pumpkin left over. So let's see how little it is. And you just usually take your pick tool to pick it up, and then you're going to put it on the back, and it's a lot smaller than our mini ones. But they're perfect for the twine. And I'm just going to put it up here, the top of that. And I'm going to trim this down. I don't need them this long. And that one's done too. So there we have it. We have done both cards. So let me pull out the other one. So we did this one. Where did I put the other one? What the heck? It couldn't have gone far. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Didn't go far. So those are the 2 cards we did tonight. So I will be back on Friday. So this is the 2 cards for the first part 1 of my virtual card class. And you can get the kit, like I said at the beginning, for a $35 or more order in product. That's before tax and shipping. and use that host code. Don't forget to use the host code. Try to remember, make sure you find where you put it. Like I said, if you struggle finding, it's not real evident a lot of times. I have a lot of people that say they can't find it. But I was told by a Stampin' Up! Person, Stampin' Up! Demo support, they said have your customers click on the little shopping cart first before they even start shopping. And then when you see my name on your cart, underneath it, it'll say add host code. Click on that, and a little block will open up, and you can enter the host code. That way you get this for free. So you'll get one of each of these cards, one enough to make one of each of these. I'm going to do all the die cutting. I've even tied your bows, cut your ribbon, punched what you needed, die cut that. These are the other two cards. Excuse me. This one's a beautiful one. See how it's vellum? Oops, I have my little measurements on the back. But that is vellum, and I just think it's so pretty. So we're going to make this one and this one on Friday at noon. So Friday, what's today? Today is the, 22nd, so Friday is the 24th? Is that right? No, it's the 23rd. I'm sorry. Today's only Wednesday. Okay. So see what happens when you retire? It's hard to figure out what day it is. But anyway, so we'll make these, and I'm going to show you how to do this. See how that leaf is all different colors? So we'll do this on Friday at noon, but those are the 4 cards. So we made these 2 tonight. Part 1. Part 2 will be these 2. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.